Let's go. Flash playing in Zerg. We are on Polypoid. Yes, it's me, Rabbit back. You can see my face. Hi, how are you? Just taking a different approach to streaming. We're actually live on YouTube and Twitch. And I just thought that it was such big news to the world of Broodwar that Flash has come out of retirement that we can just cast some of his games and have a good time. So spawning here, it's important to know that this opponent here, I don't actually know who this is. I do have a list of ladder IDs, so I could probably check that. I'll put it in the description of the video if I do end up uploading this to YouTube. But he would have just seen Flash's name and he would have just seen random. So going to be interesting to see the scouting patterns. Flash just sending his overlord in the standard direction. Flash, I think, particularly strong in this match playing as Terran, and therefore probably knows all of the important things to consider and do in this match. So yeah, man, it's gonna be cool to see how he approaches it. And then of course it's up to the Terran player to not get too psyched out about what's happening. Okay, so Flash has taken his hatch first, very standard if you are trying to play a macrocentric style as a Zerg player anyway. So no real concerns in that regard. He's going to send his drone here. His drone has just spotted the SCV, and instead of confirming the open of the Terran, he does harass him a little, but does seem to be heading this way. Overlord's still going this way, and I think it's because he's probably not 100% sure where the Terran is, but he's going to know momentarily. Drone on the ramp, just trying to block the SCV from getting in to see what's happening. No gas yet from Flash, so this is an interesting build. Usually the Zerg is taking gas, but it looks like it's going to be a 3 hatches before gas, and he snuck this hatch right in the far corner. So it's going to be very, very important that the Terran scouts this, because, and I think that's what the purpose of this SCV is to figure out exactly where Flash's 3rd hatch is, because he's gone 3 hatches before spawning pool, which is a very, very risky build if you don't know what you're doing. Of course it's Flash, so he probably does know what he's doing. Looks like our Terran is moving a Marine across the map just to probably block the drone scout more than anything else. And on we go. Flash is making drones. Terran is getting their expansion up happily. Looks like he's going to go with a bio-ish type style. 2nd rack's on the way. Academy probably incoming soon. So pretty standard from the Terran side, and just super aggressive from a macro point of view from the Zerg side. He's got, now for the first time, he starts gathering his first gas as the spawning pool finishes. There's not a single Marine on the map. There is nothing protecting him from any harassment. He's got an overlord here spotting if any Marines come across, and that's really it. And there are a few Marines here. If the Terran were to push now, it would definitely force out a Sunken or 2 from Flash. So we'll keep an eye on this little pod of Marines if it's destined to be a bunker and take a defensive posture. The map presence of the Terran is perhaps a little bit of an issue. Is this where the lair is, or is this hatch still being done? No, he's built the lair up out of sight. This is so sneaky because Terrans will always scan here and here, and they'll see no tech, and that's just going to be super interesting. So he does drop the creep colony, I think, just in the event that there are some Marines that move across the map, and he's got some protection from the Sunken. So that does make sense. And yeah, man, what's he doing over here? The Hydralisk Den. Okay, so this is going to be a lurker rush, and it's going to be very, very difficult for the Terran to scout, because this traditional route, which is scanning the 2 main bases, the natural and the main of the Zerg, is going to give him, unfortunately, no information. He's going to have to just hope upon hope that he sees Hydralisks that have popped out of the hatchery, and that's going to perhaps tip him off. Okay, so looks like our Terran is going to push out here. I don't know how Flash plans to defend here, if it's just going to be, okay, so we can see exactly what his plan is, just to make Sunkens. So the first scan goes down, probably in the main or the natural. I very much doubt he's going to scan this top corner. So a little run by with Lings. Oh dear, there's only 2 Marines here. This is going to cause a big headache. Oh, that's nicely done. There's only 2 that have got through here. Marines, though, are heading somewhere. They are suspicious that there's a 3rd base. But they also are of the view that it's here. And guess what? It's not here, guys. Bad news for you. So up they go, thinking they're going to run into Sunkens, they're going to run into something, and then they get the bad news. Oh, it's not here. Okay, well then where the hell is it? They ask themselves. Some Hydras up on the ramp. Lurker aspect is almost complete. Some Sunken colonies will come in here as well. And here, okay, so he does find the base, and there are only 3 Hydras. Hydra's not too good against Marines, but they do have the high ground, which helps. Stems up a bit, backs away. I think he's going to try and retreat to the safety of the incoming Sunkens. But I don't know if these Sunkens are... so the Sunken finishes. Oh, that's very good timing. So that was well handled. But the gig is up now. The Terran player knows exactly where Flash's 3rd base is and knows what the strategy is. Flash sending some Zerglings across the map to try and intercept the reinforcing Marines. I think this might actually work out pretty nicely for him. So flanking... no, not going to flank. Just going to do a run by to an empty bunker. This could be some problems for this Terran. He's going to take some damage here. There's only 1 Marine. So this is going to depend on how many SCV kills he can get. I'm sure he'll get a few, or he may target down the production. It's difficult to see. Meanwhile, our Terran he's pipped off the Hydra Den. That was pretty handy, because now no further Hydras can be made, but he's not going to get any damage done with the Lurkers in position there. So that's a decent hold. Meanwhile, this bunker's gone down. SCVs, I think he's lost at least 4 during this fight. There's a Firebat that's come out. He's done a pretty decent job in tidying things up. And there's still Lings here in the base, so this did some good damage. The run-by is a common weapon in this matchup for the Zerg. It does buy time, and it does make the Terran a little bit more reluctant to move out. So he does tidy this up, but I still like the position here for Zerg. Is that a hive? Wow, okay, so he's taken a sort of 7-minute hive to go into some kind of hive tech type build. What's that he's building there? Another Hydra Den. So he has to remake his Hydra Den, obviously. He's got a Queen's Nest, doesn't have a Spire, so doesn't seem to have any interest in all in making Mutalisks. That's just an expired way to play, obviously. And so here we are. They burrow in, and that's going to be the end of the good times that our Marines were having harassing Flash's 3rd. So as mentioned, we are casting here live. This will, however, be uploaded probably to YouTube if it's a good enough game. So sometimes the audience will tune in and say hi, and the chat is hopefully displaying above my head. I see Zeski in the house, a very good B-rank Terran. How are you going, friend? It is the man himself, Flash, back from retirement. So if Flash can come out of retirement, I guess I can as well, right? That's the logic for what it's worth. But anyway, let's see. This has been quite a fun game. Flash doing a very sneaky 3rd base up top. The Terran discovered it. He went Lurkers. He skipped Spire entirely, and now he's on Hive Tech. And the question we all got to ask ourselves is, what is he going to do with this Hive Tech? So Defiler Mound is coming in. So it looks like it's going to be a Lurkerling Defiler build. We'll have to see how it goes from there. Lurkers on a ramp. Very, very difficult to break with any kind of infantry forces, of course. Digging in here as well. So Flash seems to just be turtling up while waiting for his technology to come into play. Defilers are on the way. Some more hatcheries coming in. 36 drones at this stage of the game. Probably okay on 3 bases. The question is obviously going to be, is he going to try and look to expand further? Or is he going to look to push the Terran, who, with this lurker type style that Flash is put out, is going to introduce some tanks into the game, which certainly does make some sense. So it looks like we're going to have a bio push here without any sort of vessel support. So we're going to be relying on scans. I see the first vessel is in the production tab, along with a couple more factories. So it's definitely going to be a composite or a what I would call a hybrid build from our Terran. Weird to see Flash playing Zerg. So he does, for fun, I guess, play random on the ladder. So some games he has queued up as Terran, but there's a huge replay pack that I've already managed to build, and some of them he's playing Protoss, some of them he's playing Zerg. So certainly hasn't lost his confidence in his ability to play all races. And I guess that's good. If he wants to get back to where he was, then he's got to try and do the things he was once doing. Seems to be wanting to take this, but I think your best bet is to irradiate there, perhaps, or get some tanks. But it is looking like a bit of a contain that he's building up to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this looks like the 6th hatchery. So 6 hatches on 3 bases. Questionable whether that's sustainable. In other words, whether it's enough mining and optimal mining to do that. Can't move down this ramp now because spider mines have been introduced into the game. And the Terran is now using this as an opportunity to double expand. And if Flash doesn't move out, he's basically a 3-basing Zerg. And that is going to be a problem. Oh, that spider mine hit. We caught that just in time. He lost 2 lurkers to 3 mines. That's really painful. He also gets that drone that was supposed to come down there and establish their base. So Flash is falling behind here because Terran is on 4 bases. And it's got a little bit of a soft contain on the natural here. It's got a little bit of a soft contain on this natural. So, I mean, Terran doesn't mind 4 bases to 4 bases. That is more than beautiful enough. So he's not going to be too concerned at all. Floating a barracks and another barracks. Okay, so he's clearly retired from the infantry style, making space to be a full mech transition, which is very, very spicy. So these vultures have got up the ramp. The lurkers were not nearly enough of a threat. A few spider mines here as well. I think he can probably get around here, but those lurkers are going to be a bit of a problem. So those lurkers are doing good work. There's enough lings here, I think, to really just block the pathing. Those mines get gobbled up. More mines are going to gobble up. Somehow these lings avoid these mines, but I don't think there's enough here, especially considering there's fire bats. Not able to drag any mines there, unfortunately. So a couple more lings coming down here. I'm pretty sure these will be crackling soon. I'm just looking for crackling in the production tab. If he hasn't evolved already, he is getting Ultraless movement. So we're going to see some Ling Ultra Defiler out of Flash here. And he's catching up in supply. And in theory, he really shouldn't. The majority of the Terran supply here, though, is SCVs. He's got 66 of them. And he's now going to be facing quite a bit of harassment. More lings are coming in. It's mainly just lings and defilers that are putting him under pressure with this lurker. And suddenly this Terran is in a whole heap of trouble. He looked like he was in a really commanding position, getting his 4 expansions up. He's got siege tanks here, but these lings are going to take this down. They are indeed cracklings. Floats up the command center as you would expect to do at this stage. But some really nice counter harassment from Flash. I think fighting himself into a very strong position. Also established his 4th base, which was very important from an economic parity point of view. So a good start. And more lings. It's just lings, lurkers, defilers, constant pressure. I don't know if tanks was the right approach here because they need protection. They need support units. Okay, vultures have now got in front here, so that's pretty good. This is still floating though. And I heard an irradiate go off on probably one of these lurkers underneath the command center. Oh! Hits the bomb. Okay, relands. So for a while he was actually just a 2-basing Terran due to that harassment. And there are some lings up here which could potentially pave the way for Flash to expand again. So does send a Volt here to confirm that Flash hasn't expanded, but hasn't sent one to the top left as of yet. Overlord just flying across going, you don't have any anti-air, so I'm just going to have a quick looky-loo at what's happening here. Lings are pretty good to eat up the mines. Look at this mine get dragged like for miles. Okay, so you want vultures to fight lings. That's almost the best, from a Terran point of view, almost the best situation you can have. So still pretty even supplies. I like this game for Flash. I think he's in a strong position. Terran should, in theory, have quite a lot more supply than what they do currently. And here comes this SCV going, but wait, no, I was wanted to expand up here. Why have you got lings? Damn you. Alright, so I have not seen an Ultralisk. I've seen all the upgrades for Ultralisks. Ah, here we go. So there's 4 in production. Where are they coming from? Ah, there you are. Hello. Okay, so these big scary Ultras are going to get spider-mined into absolute oblivion. There are more though, but there are also more mines. Ow, ow. Okay, so he's taken 3 mine hits and he's still going strong. He's got about a quarter health left. Now he's in the red, and siege tanks are going to make him in the dead. So these vultures are going to knock down this hatch. So this is just action-packed all over the show. So with the Sunkens coming in, with the Ultras coming in, with the Defilers here to support, I don't think the vultures are going to do much here, but this hatch is a thing of the past. Siege tanks though, man. Ultras are very, very strong, but you need critical mass, and at the moment Flash is not able to quite get up to critical mass. That being said, supplies are still even. He's got a few more drones, so in terms of army it's basically dead even. Sending in heaps and heaps more vultures. This vulture tank science vessel composition is playing against a Ultralisk Ling composition, and that was a really nice trade. So Flash did get up the numbers he needed, is sending in heaps and heaps and heaps of reinforcing Lings, and now things are suddenly not looking so peachy for our Terran. He's got a base here, he's got his base here, got his base here, but I think desperately needs another base and needs some more army. So Flash can constantly just reinforce. He still hasn't taken this position. He does move these units down from here now. These spotter barracks are pretty handy because there's no like air units on the map of any kind. Some more Lings coming across. Lings basically free here. Vultures roaming around, checking that he hasn't re-established this base perhaps. Yep, so that's what they do, and they come and see, oh, okay, so you don't have anything going. There's just red and blue all over the map again. Some more. There's nothing here protecting this base. There's no bunker, there's hardly any mines. So once again he has to lift, which is super annoying. But on the flip side, this time Flash decides, you know what, I'll do my 8 or 9 Ultralisks to protect this base, and I wish you luck taking it with your vultures again. Meanwhile, you need to get your act together here, Mr. Terran, otherwise this base is going to once again be under harassment. Okay, so the Ling's absorbing a lot of these hits, and the Ultras are going to head down to, I think, try and take down this base. There's not really a lot here, except for the mines, and they do hurt. Oh, okay, so the Lings do absorb quite a lot of the Ultra hits. There's irradiates going off. There's some sieged up tanks, some in tank mode. Almost all of the Ultras have died there, so pretty good defense from our Terran. Nice Dark Swarms though, which do obviously make it a little bit more of a challenge for the Terran to thwart the attacks. That being said, the splash damage of the siege tanks gets the job done. But here we go again. And I think it's just going to be unrelenting from Flash here, just over and over and over. Here come the Lings from this side. The Mind Drag should be effective. Yep, so they triggers a Mind Drag. Boom, there goes another tank. So there's 4 more tanks down here, and the supply differential is just not moving. So it's constantly about 15 up, and he's just sending and sending and sending and sending. There are no SCVs mining here. There are pretty much all of the SCVs mining here. There's not much money here. There's not much money here. If Terran doesn't get another base up soon, they are going to lose this game. So here we are sending in more Lings, more Ultras, trying to target this base where I guess there isn't really that much defense, but there's a critical amount of money in SCVs. So does seem to be wanting to try and target it from this position. The Terran has sent most of his army here though, so that certainly is going to slow him down. Oof, there's so much powerful mech here. 2-2 mech, it's pretty strong, for sure. And from both angles, this has kind of been nicely cut off. Very open here though. And I think that's the problem for the Terran, is protecting both his mining bases and trying to establish another one. So Flash being Flash builds a hatchery where the Terran would want to next build a command center. And that's going to be his challenge if he wants to win this game. I honestly don't think he can from where he is, but we shall see. eBay spots this. Problem is the Terran really has very little by way of freedom to move around the map. He exposes this, he exposes, I mean this is pretty nicely fortified now. But the Zerg can just come in from this angle and take a whole bunch of SCVs down, although he does have a decent amount of army here, but it's, I mean, Flash is nearly maxed out. He's got 77 drones. He's got 1, although it's nearly finished, 2, nearly finished, 3. No, but no drones here. 4, 5, that's pretty healthy. 6, that's pretty healthy. So he's got 6 mining bases, soon to be 4. He's transferred drones here, and these vultures have basically all but jumped on that. He's going to be able to tidy this up though, and so losing about 6 or 7 drones, not really a major hassle. He should be able to replace those pretty easily. The Terrans realize now that he has to move out. If he stays put on the map, he doesn't stand a chance. He needs to try and entrench a new position or take control of a new area of the map so that he can take a base. Trying to maybe take here, trying to take top left, although there's a drone just chilling here. Here comes a whole heap of Zerg though. Mines get triggered, more lings, more irradiates. Just the sound of deadling, 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 but he just goes. There's just so much Zerg here. He can just send in unrelenting swarms, more and more and more. Maybe look, the supply differential there probably got smaller, if I'm honest. Flash was about 40-50 ahead, less so. So trading inefficiently, the question we've got to ask ourselves is, does it really matter? Because every time he lifts off and replays SCVs, he struggles with money. Flash's only real challenge seems to be gas at the moment. So he's got gas running here and here. Still hasn't taken this base. I'm surprised he hasn't. Our Terran has established a mineral only, not struggling as much for gas. A lot of vultures and stuff like that would help. But now Flash moving his army to a new position. But our Terran has not sieged up his tanks, so he's just going to micro back here and pick off these lings. I don't imagine he's going to get too much done here. The vultures will come in here as well, which is a good counter to this. However, now here come the ultras as reinforcing power. There are 3 tanks and 4 vessels versus a scattering, but look at the red that is coming from all corners of the map. So now he's going to come in from this side. Does our Terran have enough to hold this base? That was a nice mine. It just doesn't look like he does. Another base being taken here, and he's taken this one and the gas. Just way, way, way too much econ power. Once again, sending his units down here to pressure this position. I mean, he's running out of money here, so it really probably isn't even that valuable of a target. That was a beautiful mine drag. There's hardly any tanks left here. Look, there's nothing behind this line. That's it. Our Terran GG's out, and the first game we have covered in the Flash Takes on the World series. Flash playing Zerg on random, runs into a Terran, and takes him down here on Polypoid in a pretty solid game. I think just taking those 3 hatches before spawning pool, relatively uncontested, managing to hold that was probably the difference. Just had too much macro. Terran wasn't really able to catch up. Did some great counter harassing when the Terran was trying to establish that 4th base, and that was probably the end of the road for him on that one. So, good game. I'm Rabbit Roo, casting Broodwar again. I'll see you soon. Take it easy.